What's up guys, Toby here back with another video, and as you can see by the title down below this video, this is my review of the OnePlus 5. But I decided to make my review a little bit different from the other reviews that I've made. If you are a follower to this channel, you know that usually my reviews are just voiceover recorded with this microphone behind me and then just B-roll on top of that. And that's the review. But I've seen other guys like MKBHD, Jonathan Morrison, all those Team Crispy guys, Jay's 2 Cents, they all make talking head reviews, and I think that those seem a bit more connected to the reviewer, so that's what I want to try today. This is also going to be an unscripted review. I just have some notes in front of me, and let's see how this goes. If you liked this type of video or review, then make sure to click like down below and also comment down below what you like and what you think that I should improve on. The OnePlus 5 was released in June of 2017, that being just about 2 months ago, and they have two different models. The model that I have here is the one with the darker paint, that being the Midnight Black, I think it's called, and that one features 128 gigs of storage and an astonishing 8 gigs of RAM. And then there's a normal model which is maybe $50 cheaper, which has 64 gigs of storage and 6 gigs of RAM. So let's take a look at the design of the OnePlus 5. Now, as you guys can probably tell already, it's very similar to a pretty well-known phone out there. I don't know what it could be. Samsung? No. LG? No. It's Apple, of course. The iPhone 7 Plus. It's very similar to the iPhone 7 Plus. The Apple design of the iPhone 6, which is basically the same as the iPhone 7, was good when it came out about 3 or 4 years ago now, but now it's just boring. In terms of what went on in the designer's mind, I think they wanted to create a design that has been tested before and that they know many people will like. And yeah, sure, it looks good, it's high quality, you know, it's aluminum and all that, so it feels good in the hand, maybe a tiny bit more slippery than I would like, but it looks good, it's just a bit boring. It's also got a pretty big chin and forehead. You know, with the S8 and LG G6 and the Xiaomi Mi Mixes out there, it looks kind of, you know, non-innovative and a bit outdated compared to those phones. You know, let's compare them right now. This is the LG G6, small bezels, cool design, and this is the OnePlus 5. It looks kind of boring, not anything special, just a totally typical phone that you see every day. In terms of specs, we have got kind of the best that there is out there in the Android market. That being the latest and greatest from Qualcomm, that's the Snapdragon 835 SoC. They've got, as I mentioned before, either 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM. That still amazes me every day. A 1080p AMOLED display, which doesn't make it good for VR. I don't know if there are any VR headsets out there that are compatible with it. If there are, then that's not gonna bring you the best experience compared to the 1440p displays. However, when just looking at it and comparing it to a 1440p display, it's not easy to tell the difference. So it's still very sharp, still very good looking, and I think on par with flagship phones. And also because it's an AMOLED display, it of course has those super inky blacks, those very popping vivid colors, and overall I think it just looks very good. And below the display is the fingerprint sensor. It's extremely quick, as it have been ever since they came out with the OnePlus 3. Here, I'll give you an example right now. Okay, 1, 2, bam, open, bam, open, bam. Yeah, it's quick. It's awesome, it's quick, it's accurate. I've never had any problems with the fingerprint scanner. Oh, and also it has a headphone jack, which I personally appreciate a lot. So another thing that OnePlus is famous for, other than having these beastly specs, is the operating system. It's called Oxygen OS, and it is running on Android 7.1.1. It is no skin though, it's just, you know, normal pure Android, which I love. It looks so clean, it's super fast because they have basically no gimmicks or weird features that so many other phones like the S8 has. It's just very very pure Android, and I love that. But if you don't like that, if you want those gimmicky features to show your friends like, ooh, I'm cool, I've got the iris scanner, I've got the gesture control and all that stuff, then by all means look somewhere else. This is not the phone for you. This phone is kind of like an iPhone. This phone is kind of like an iPhone, but it's an Android phone basically. So the smooth operating system in combination with the beastly specs, the slightly lower resolution 1080p display compared to other flagships, that combined makes it a very fluid, very fast phone and probably the most powerful phone there is out there today. In terms of what they had added onto the operating system, they've added some very small improvements to the operating system though, and those are, for example, the alert slider, which is similar to the mute switch on the iPhones. However, this has 3 modes. The first mode in the lowest setting, that being sound on, the middle being do not disturb, and the upper mode being silent, just vibration. It's also got some gestures such as 3-finger screenshot. So if I put 3 fingers onto the screen and drag down, it takes a screenshot. So yes, it does have some added features to it, but those are not gimmicks, they are actually useful and stuff that I use on a daily basis. The speaker on this it's no Nexus 6P speaker. It's just very similar to the LG G6 and the S8, and that means it's fine, it's good, but not anything special, not anything that will blow your mind. The front-facing camera is a 16 megapixel camera sensor, which is very good actually, but do not take my word for it. Let's roll some pictures taken with the front-facing camera. Alright, so now let's talk about the dual camera system. So for you guys who don't know why you would have 2 cameras, well, it's basically like this. Behind one of these lenses is a normal wide-angle lens, and behind the other one is what they describe as a telephoto lens, but it's definitely not as shallow as that. It's just a little bit more zoomed in, that being 2x zoom, without losing any quality. It's fast, there's no shutter lag. Switching between cameras is also very fast, there's no lag overall. And I think generally that the photos and video that come out of the OnePlus 5's dual camera lens system look great. A con with the system though is it does not have optic image stabilization, which results in pictures taken in low light being a bit more blurry than, for example, on the S8 and the iPhone 7 Plus. It does have electronic image stabilization though, which is definitely not as good as optic, but it works fine in well-lit areas, and as I mentioned before, in more dim areas it could look a bit blurry and a bit jiggly and artifactory. Is that a word? Without me rambling on too much about this, let's roll some pictures and videos, 4K video tests and all that, taken on the OnePlus 5's dual camera system. So there you guys go. Now let's talk about the battery life, which I was actually surprised by. It's a 3300 milliamp hour battery, which is by no means anything special, but when you combine that battery with the more energy efficient components inside and with the 1080p display, which draws less power, both because it's an AMOLED panel and also because it's 1080p instead of 1440p, which most of the flagships out there are, the battery life is great. In my own testing time, which has now been about 3 weeks, at the end of the day, I had about 20 to 35% left, and that's good in my opinion. But the main cool thing about the battery life is not the battery itself, but the way you charge it. And you charge it via this fast charging technology called Dash Charge, and it is seriously the best on the market today. Charging from 0 to 100% happens in just 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's extremely fast. For example, the LG G6 right here, it charges from 0 to 100% in maybe 1 hour and 45 minutes. The S8 is probably around that time as well. So yeah, that charging is super fast, but what's even cooler than 0 to 100% is the speed of which you're charging from maybe 15 to 50%, and that happens in just 20 minutes, which is extremely fast. So let's end this review by talking about my pros and cons of the OnePlus 5. Pros: it's extremely quick, fast, it's very well built, battery life is great, the dual camera lens system is also very good in my opinion, it's definitely up to par with flagship phones. I like the small extra features that they have added to it. The buttons, they feel tactile and clicky, the fingerprint sensor is very fast, and I love dash charging. Now let's move on to the cons. The main con is maybe that it doesn't have any water resistance, which basically every flagship smartphone has nowadays. It also doesn't have anything like a high quality DAC, it doesn't have wireless charging, it's not VR compatible. What else? The bezels are pretty big, which doesn't look as, futuristic as the latest phones. And I think that's about it. So as a conclusion, the OnePlus 5 is the phone right now for the Android enthusiast who just wants pure Android, no gimmicks, just an overall speedy phone. But if you are interested in a more edited version of Android, then do not buy the OnePlus 5. Buy something like the S8 or the HTC U11 instead, which have all of these extra features. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please do let me know in the comment section down below. If you did not, that might be because I rambled too much, and I'm gonna try to improve on that. But please do let me know your suggestions down below in the comment section for how to improve these videos, and I'll try to make them better with the next review. So with that said, if you are new around here, please do click that subscribe button and watch my other videos. I would very much appreciate that. And without any further ado, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.